Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste once again to all of you.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste. Having said the prayers, we will also chant the three Mangala shlokas which Adi Shankara has composed. And I have already sent you both the English and Sanskrit versions of the Bhashyam. And these three prayers are there. So if you have got access to that now, either by a printout or on your computer screen, you can chant along with me. Okay. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahite Ratam Vedabja Bhaskaram Vande Shamadhi Nilayam Munim. Then last one. Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasranetrananapadhabaho Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradishantyaihi. So we were seeing the meaning of the last shloka in the last class, this third one. And as I was explaining to you, that Bhagavan is described in different ways in our Shastras. And it is a process of discovery. Each stage or each way the Bhagavan or Ishvara is described is a beautiful process of discovery. And that's why I keep on saying that in our culture, God is someone who is to be discovered, not to be believed in. Just to believe in, right? And I was referring to the way Sarvagyatva Muni, he has actually handled this subject of teaching about Bhagavan in a very systematic manner. That's what we were discussing in the last class towards the end, right? And as I told you that he has written a commentary on Brahma Sutra, which is called Sankshepa Sharirakam. In that, he mentions about how the teaching should be done. He says that most people, majority of the people have very low level of spirituality and spiritual maturity, in fact, and including children. They have a very low level of spiritual maturity. And it is easy to teach them that God is in the temple in Tirupati or in Guruvayur or in, as I said, in Vaishno Devi, Kailas Parvat, all these things, give a location to the God. It is easy for them to relate to it, to understand. And I gave you the example also of the Prime Minister sitting in Delhi, rules over the whole country. So God sitting in one Vaikuntha or Kailasha or somewhere or in a temple in Tiruchendur, he rules over the entire world. It is easy to understand, right? And this is what he calls a Manda Adhikari. Manda Adhikari means a person with a low level of spiritual maturity. Manda Adhikari. So, for such people, if you say Bhagavan is the Nimitta Karanam, he is the one who has created this entire world, that will be understandable. God is there, he is in the temple, and he is also the same God is there in Vaikunta or Kailasa, and that God is the Nimitta Karanam for the creation of this entire world. That's how we teach our children also, isn't it? We tell them Bhagavan is in the temple. So first what we do, we learn to appreciate Ishvara or Bhagavan in a particular location. There is still some background noise coming, so I will just repeat the mute process. So it is easy for us to say, okay, we go to the temple to what? To pray to Bhagavan, right? So when we go to the temple, we get the mood to pray. That's what happens. Like, so for example, when we go to a dining table, we get the mood to eat, isn't it? Or a dining hall in a marriage or anything, mood to eat. When we go to a cinema hall, we have a mood for entertainment. So that mood is created by this temple for prayer. So we give a location to Bhagavan there. This is what we do for a Manda Adhikari. We give a form, a Rupam, and also a Sthalam, a place, location for the Bhagavan, and say that he is sitting there and ruling over the whole world. And as I said, it becomes very easy to relate. Bhagavan has a superpower. You don't need to go beyond that. In fact, many other religions have stopped there itself, as I told you, right? So there we give a Rupam like Shanga, Chakra, Gada, Bani, or we give, wearing, this tiger skin and Trishul in the hand and all for Shiva. All these kind of forms and, this thing we give. And at this stage, this Manda Adhikari requires lot of varieties. So what we do, we give different types of Bhagavan, different forms and different names and different shapes. Say all are Bhagavan. Murugan is Bhagavan, Shiva is Bhagavan, Vishnu is Bhagavan, Ganapathy is Bhagavan. Different varieties we create to keep this fellow engaged in this process of spirituality. And children also, they also like varieties. You just give one toy to your children, it won't be happy. You give variety of toys to be very happy. Different toys to play with. Similarly, this Manda Adhikaris also require different varieties to understand what the Bhagavan is, right? And in fact, we go one step ahead. On different occasions, we do different alankara to these Bhagavans. During Navaratri, Devi temples and all, 9 days, 9 different alankaras. Such a wonderful thing to see. Very entertaining. In fact, everybody will be guessing tomorrow what alankara it's going to be. It's going to be flower alankara, vegetable alankara, fruit alankara, what alankara it's going to be. So it creates a sort of a curiosity and an interest. And in fact, whether we go to temple on other days or on, many people I observed during Navaratri, they will definitely go to the temple. 9 days, they will go to the temple. And because of that, all these things are done so that keep them engaged. That is the Manda Adhikari approach to the Manda Adhikari, right? Then when we move to the Madhyama Adhikari, a little bit of more spiritual maturity has come. What we do, we say that Ishvara is not only in the temple, Vaikunta and Kailasa, etc. He is all pervading. He is Sarvavyapi. He is everywhere. There is no particular location for Ishvara. He is everywhere. That is what we tell them. And this is actually, expressed in Puranas and all that. This Sarvavyapi Ishvara is described in Puranas. Once this is understood, then we can go to the study of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, this is brought out very beautifully. Krishna, who was earlier understood as a king, as a Bhagavan in human form, isn't it? Vishnu Avatara. He is now presented in Bhagavad Gita both as Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman, both. Ishvara with form and attributes, and Ishvara without form and without attribute. Bhagavan Krishna is presented, as I think I told you, in 3 different forms in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna as a human being, Arjuna's friend, the king of, the Yadav king. Then Krishna as Saguna Brahman and Krishna as Nirguna Brahman. All these 3 forms are, they are expounded in the Bhagavad Gita. And depending upon what your level of maturity, you will relate to it. What happens is many people read Bhagavad Gita, they don't know whatever Krishna is saying, in what capacity he is saying what. So they get totally confused rather, and they feel that it's all contradictory. Unless you know this background, when he says something, some sloka, in what context is he saying this as a friend of Arjuna? Like for example, in first chapter, he says so many things to Arjuna. He even calls Arjuna as a neutral gender person, as a, I don't know, transgender, sir, not transgender person. He says that if you do not get up and fight Arjuna, people will think you are a Napumsaka Linga, you are a transgender, you don't have any, will to fight. And you will be, cursed by the people. So there he is talking to Arjuna as his friend rather. Then in the later chapter, when he is showing Vishwarupa Darshanam to Arjuna, there he is talking to Arjuna as Saguna Brahman. Then in the 15th chapter, as a Purushottama Yoga chapter, he talks to Arjuna as Nirguna Brahman. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita hai. So there he actually, so many slokas are there. He talks as Nirguna Brahman. So these are 3 capacities Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita. And we have to understand, when we study Bhagavad Gita, we have to focus on this. Krishna is talking, what is the message he is giving as a Krishna, the, a human being, it's friend of Arjuna. What is the message he is giving as Saguna Brahman, and what is the message he is giving as a Nirguna Brahman. So this stage is beautifully brought out in Bhagavad Gita, and that is exactly what this Sarvagyatma Muni is dealing with this. So I was in the Madhyama Adhikari, so we tell him all these things. So earlier, the Bhagavan who was understood as being in the human form is now being presented as a Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. As I said, Ishvara with form and without form. And then finally, when we reach the Upanishads, Vedas, Shruti, there all these forms, gunas of Ishvara are discarded. And Ishvara is presented purely as Satchidananda, pure consciousness, pure existence, and pure happiness, limitless Ishvara. That is how the Upanishads are present Ishvara, or they call it Brahman, right? But that does not mean that when you come to Vedanta or Upanishads, you discard all the earlier knowledge, right? You don't do that, because you have acquired that, but this is the path through which you have traveled. So the earlier learnings are as much valid when we come to Vedanta, because then we have the maturity to understand this different dimensions of what we talk about as Ishvara. And we also understand that this is being talked about in the Shastras for a particular purpose, addressing a particular class of people, particular people with a certain maturity levels. If you tell a child Ishvara does not any form and all that, he will immediately ask, then why do you go to the temple? Then what is this in our puja room? We have kept so many photos and all that. You can't tell the child that Ishvara is Nirguna Brahman and all that. For that, even why child? Even grown-up people, you can't tell them. In fact, I'll just share one small incident with you. When I was conducting the class on Kathopanishad in Nananani, one lady, she heard that is conducting a class. So she wanted to see what this is Kathopanishad is all about. So she came to the class and then she was sitting. And after some time, about half an hour, she left the class. Then later on I heard that she went around telling people, oh, that Ganapathy is talking about some Atma and all that kind of a thing. It was very scary for me to listen about Atma, Preta, Bhuta and all. I don't know what is this Upanishad and all. There are some black magic thing they are teaching. Yes, teaching. This is a real incident. So even to grown-up people who are actually senior citizens, you tell them about Atma, Brahman and all, they won't make any sense out of it. It requires a certain level of spiritual maturity for you to come to that level. And that is the entire scheme of the Shastras, the entire scheme of the scriptures. They take you hand-holding, step by step. And that is why we have all this Itihasa, Purana, Smriti Granthas, then Shrutis. All these levels of scriptures we have got for this purpose only. Take you right from kindergarten stage up to PhD stage. That is what all our scriptures are, right? And that, of course, has got a downside. It creates a lot of confusion in people's mind. And in fact, some people will feel that, scriptures or shastras are talking contradictory things. Somewhere they say Bhagavan is having all these gunas and somewhere they say he's nirguna, contradicting each other. So we have to understand that whenever scriptures are talking about things, they talk about it with a particular audience in mind. And that is why, this Vedanta knowledge, the knowledge of these Upanishads, it was not a public knowledge at all. It used to be given very selectively only to people who will be tested for their spiritual maturity, and only those people will be given this knowledge. Otherwise, if you give this knowledge to the wrong people, it can do more harm to the scriptures than any benefit rather. This was there earlier rather. But then over a period of time, a different view was taken that let us expose everybody, and whoever has got a maturity will automatically come in, and then we can pick up those people and then teach them intensely about this. That is why most of the Mahatmas, Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, all these people, they taught Bhagavad Gita more than anything else. Publicly, they will teach Bhagavad Gita maximum. Because as I told you, Bhagavad Gita takes you through the whole process. And then, once somebody has gone through Bhagavad Gita, understood little bit about Nirguna Brahman, then gets a curiosity to know more. What exactly is this Upanishads talking about? They will come for a more in-depth study of the Upanishads. In fact, that's exactly what happened with me. So they will then be, taken to the Gurukulam and then given an intense coaching or teaching, preparing them for this moksha purushartha. Not that you go spend time in Gurukulam, you get moksha. It will teach you the road, give you the roadmap, how to go to this moksha, how you have to change your entire attitude, your thinking, your approach to life, your approach to everything around you, your approach to this entire world, how you need to change, and what is the prescription being given by the Shastras, especially the Upanishads, for you to do that. What are the sadhanas that you need to follow, rather, exercises that you need to follow. So this is how the Shastra scheme is there, right? So therefore, at the highest level of maturity, if you ask who is God, you will not say God is a father sitting in heaven and all that, or is a Vishnu sitting in Vaikunta and all. No, what we will say, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Ishvara. Highest level of maturity, the Mahatmas, when they get this Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi knowledge of these Mahavakyas which are enshrined in the Upanishads, he will know that there is no God other than me. There is no difference between what we call God and me. That is what is the meaning of the word Aham Brahmasmi, which I very briefly touched upon in the initial 1 or 2 talks. Okay. So for us, God is everywhere. Vishnu is Sarva Vyapi. All pervading. And these Upanishads, that is why they describe this Ishvara as, this Brahman as Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. He is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest thing that you can conceive of in your mind. That is what is Ishvara, which means what? He is everything. If you have read Prahalada Charitram, that is the message of Prahalada Charitram. Isn't it? When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahalada, where is your Narayana? Show me. He says he is everywhere. He will be in the pillar. He will be in the particle of rust. Everywhere. Then he says, show me. Break open this pillar. And then comes Narsimha Avatara. We know the Prahalada Charitram story, right? And this is what Shankaracharya here means by Sahasramurtehe Purushottamasya. In the last sloka, right? Practically it is Vishwarupa Darshan. Sahasramurtehe Purushottamasya. And then he says, Sahasra Netra Anana Pada Bahoho. Netram, Ananam, Padam, Baho. What are they? Netram means eyes. Ananam means face. Pada means feet. Bahoho means hand. So, what does it remind us? Those of you who know Purusha Suktam will immediately recall. Sahasra Shirisha Purusha hai, Sahasrakshas Sahasrapate, Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva, Atyatishtat Dasangulam. Then in Narayana Suktam, Sahasra Devam Vishwaksham Vishwashambhuvam, Sahasra Shirisham Devam Vishwaksham Vishwashambhuvam. Then Namo Vanantyaya Vishwam Sahasra Murtaye, Sahasra Padakshishirurubahave, Sahasranamne Purushaya Shashwate, Sahasra Koti Yugadharine Namaha. All these mantras, Veda mantras, are referring to this only. Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam, all are referring to this Sahasra Anana Pada Baho. Sahasra Netra Anana Pada Baho. And here, Sahasram we must not interpret as 1,000. We must take the meaning as countless. And that's what Purusha Suktam says. Thus, this Ishvara, this Brahman, this God, what we call, has got countless, faces, countless heads, countless bodies. And this is only 1/10 of the real, what we see, what we experience in this entire world is only 1/10 of what the real, form of Ishvara is. So this is what is that Vishwarupa Darshan. Every set of eyes is Ishvara's eyes. Every set of face is Ishvara's face. Every set of legs are Ishvara's legs. Every set of hands are Ishvara's hands. Everything in this universe is only Ishvara. And that's why I told you earlier. Dayanand Swami used to say, It is wrong to say that there is one God. The right expression is there is only God, nothing other than God. Everything is God. That is how we have to understand God. And our entire scriptures are built around this understanding only. Okay. So he is Desha Vyapi, Kala Vyapi, beyond time and space. Ishvara is, in fact, time and space are within Ishvara. He is beyond time and space. Okay. He pervades the space and time. He is in and through everything in this entire cosmos. And what is that Ishvara? Sat, Chit and Ananda. This is what Ishvara is. So he is Sahasra Murte Purushottamasya Sahasra Netra Anana Padabaho. But when we come to this Sahasra, the next one, Sahasranamam, he says. So Sahasranamam means 1,000 names. There the Sahasra we have to interpret as 1,000. Because he is referring to the Vishnu Sahasranam. Right? So Sahasranamam Purushottama, Purushottamasya. Purushottama means Uttama Purusha, which is again you can take it as pure consciousness. Sanskrit students will know what is Uttama Purusha. Aham. Right? Uttama Purusha. That is pure consciousness is referred to. We'll see that in more detail as we go through each and every sloka and also the names rather. So it is this pure consciousness which is appearing as all objects, as all events, as all situations, as all bodies, everything in this cosmos rather. And because of what? Because of Maya Shakti. Because Brahman himself does not itself rather, Brahman is a neutral gender word. Brahman itself doesn't have any quality or any function or anything. He can't create anything. So only with the help of Maya, it can be created. Brahman plus Maya, creator of this world. So what is being said is that oneness, that pure consciousness is one, which is being projected as so many things in this entire cosmos, entire world. Right? So what Adi Shankara is saying, that this Sahasra Nam Purushottamasya, this 1,000 names of this Purushottama, this Vishnu who is pure consciousness, who is Sarva Vyapi, I am going to explain, Niruchyate, I am going to explain, comment upon, says Shankaracharya, right? And as we know, this is the most famous of all these Sahasranamas. In fact, most people who are in the religious path, irrespective of which sampradaya they belong to, they would have certainly chanted Sahasranama, want to learn Vishnu Sahasranama. It's a very famous one, right? And the beauty is Vishnu Sahasranama, and of course to large extent Lalita Sahasranama also, is both a Shastram and also a Stotra. It contains the message of the Upanishads. As I told you, every Sahasranama has 3 parts, right? So it contains Nirguna Brahma message, Saguna Brahma message, everything is there, and also Avatara messages of the Avatara, specific Avataras. So this is the Shastra also is there, and Stotram is also there. That is the beauty. And then finally he says, what is the purpose of this commentary? He says, Janma Jaradi Shantyaihi. The 2 significant miseries that we face in our world, in the world, right, in our life, is what? Old age and rebirth. Janma. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. This is one thing we face, everybody. And old age, Jara, is what we face. We can't escape it. And both are very painful. This rebirth is also painful. In fact, rebirth is painful both for the child as well as the mother. Isn't it? It's actually the delivering of the child, the mother gets a new life, literally. Those of you who are in medical profession will know this. Others also, other mothers also will know what is the degree of pain they undergo when the child is born. Right? So, both this old age is another painful thing. And the tragedy is, when we are young, we never think that we see the old people struggling to walk, struggling to eat, struggling to sleep, struggling to talk. Hearing is gone. What others are saying, they can't hear. They get frustrated because of that. Their relationship with others take a beating because nobody wants to come and spend even a few minutes with them. Everybody is busy in their own life, all the young generation. Such a painful period this old age is. And when we are young and healthy, we never ever think, we see all this, but it never occurs to us that one day we will also be in the same situation. It never occurs to us. That's a tragedy of our life. So what he is saying is, this Vishnu Sahasranamam, I am going to explain the meaning so that people get a relief or they can escape this old age, and also they can escape a rebirth. What does it mean? Should not take it literally, they can escape the old age. What it means is, when you get old and when you are facing all these problems, you will have the maturity to react to those problems in a positive way, rather than getting depressed about it, rather than getting worried about it, and rather than praying, oh God, why don't you take me away from this world? Every day that you live in this world, you will learn to spend the day happily, joyfully. And Vishnu Sahasranamam is the starting point for that journey towards moksha. In fact, what is moksha? Moksha is spending every moment of your life while living joyfully. And happiness or joy is what? It is a state of mind. If you prepare the mind, the way the Shastra tells you to prepare the mind, if you're serious about it, if you apply your mind to preparing the mind, then even let anything happen. In fact, Swami Paramatmananda says, if you have that matured, highly prepared mind, even when the Yamaraja comes, you will invite him, please come, take me away. I'm very happily ready, packed everything. You will not have any fear of Yamaraja or death coming to your door. So this Janma and this Jara are the two big problems in our life. So once you have that prepared mind, once you have got this knowledge of yourself, Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, then the Shastra says you don't have any rebirth. Because all your karmas which are there in your account, the moment you get this self-knowledge, Atma Jnanam, those karmas will be destroyed. Nothing will survive. So the cause for your next birth, which is those karmas, those punyas and papas which are there in your account has been continuing for so many past births, they will all be completely removed. This is what Shastra is telling. Once those karmas are removed, there is no rebirth. So both this, Jara, preparing your mind, preparing a healthy reaction to everything that you are going to face in your old age, all situations, health problems, and all sorts of problems, relationship, emotional problems, let us just put it as emotional and health problems. your ability to react to them in a very positive manner to all situations, one, and also avoiding rebirth, which is also a very painful thing. If you are born again, you don't know what you are going to be born. You can be born as a human being, you can be born as an animal, you can be born as a worm, you can be born as a mosquito, or you can be born as a tree, a plant. All or any living being you can be born, depending upon all your past karmas. So that could be a very painful thing. If you are born as a cat, you will be chased by a dog. If you are born as a rat, you will be chased by the cat, isn't it? So this will continue. So in order to avoid that, he says, I am explaining this Vishnu Sahasranama so that you get a very good idea of what Ishvara is all about and what you are all about. Through this knowledge of Ishvara, you will get the knowledge of your own self. By discovering Ishvara, the real nature of Ishvara, you will be discovering your own real nature. That is why I am going to write, he says. Right? And Bhajagovindam, Shankaracharya brings out this old age problem very beautifully. He says, Angam galitam palitam mundam dashana vihinam jatam tundam vruddho yati grihitva dandam tadapina munchati asha pindam. It's just highlighting, focusing on what all, old age is about. The body has become weak. Added to that, there is back pain, knee pain, all those things. Sleep does not come easily rather. And it is not possible to keep awake also, because next day you will then not be able to get up from the bed also if you don't get sleep. A walking stick is required for walking rather, right? Grihitva dandam, right? Vriddho yati, a old person moves around grihitva dandam with a walking stick rather, right? So the old age is staring at us like a tiger, ready to swallow us. It's a miserable living, actually speaking. Ask any old people plus 80, you ask them what is the kind of living they live. And as I said, we don't realize this when we are young. Even somebody else dies, we never think that the death will visit us also one day. So all this dukkham, because Shastra says, yatra yatra shariram tatra tatra dukkham. So all these dukkhams, these miseries of our life will be neutralized, you can say, through this Atmajnanam, for which this Vishnu Sahasranamam is the starting point. That is what he says, right? So therefore Shankaracharya says that the purpose of this commentary is to grant freedom, liberation from birth, old age, etc., which literally means moksha. What is referred to in the Shastras as Jivan Mukta, moksha while living. And the same idea we also saw in one of the Mangala Shlokas, Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Muchyate. Right? There it was not only Jara they talked about, the Samsara was talked about, Janma was common. Samsara we talked about, but there also the Samsara context, the worst part is this Jara, this old age only. So that is what it says. So this Vishnu Sahasranama is a very important stage in the journey, spiritual journey towards the moksha marga. It's a moksha marga towards moksha. Okay. That is what will give us pure and eternal happiness. So Shankaracharya saluted first Sri Krishna as Parabrahma, Atma, and also his Guru as Guru. So in the second sloka, he saluted sage Vyasa, author of the Sahasranama. And in the third one, he praises the Sahasranama itself. He is actually bringing out all its glories. Okay. And he also has given the reason for, or explanation for, undertaking this bhashyam. Why he is writing this bhashyam, he has given the reason for that. So now we will enter the Purva Bhaga. which is appearing in the Mahabharata text. Okay, and for which Shankaracharya has written this Bhashyam. So let me see, 20 minutes is there. So this Vishnu Sahasranama itself, as I said, is a stuti, praise of the Lord. Okay, and initially, as Mahabharata starts, this Vishnu Sahasranama portion starts in the Mahabharata. The first few verses are in the form of a dialogue, giving the background of how Vishnu Sahasranama came about. This serves to show us the importance of Vishnu Sahasranama. Okay. And this Mahabharata, in fact, is presented as a dialogue between Ugrashravas and the son of, who is the son of Romaharshana, and a group of Maharishis headed by Shaunaka. So there is a group of Maharishis headed by a rishi called Shaunaka, and this Ugrashravas is actually telling them the story of this Mahabharata. That is how the entire Mahabharata is structured. And Ugrashravas was a disciple of Vedavyasa. And there are other names also. I think Suta Pauranika is a name. Suta Putra, all these names are there. Ugrashravas is the name we can remember, right? So the background is these rishis were performing a big yaga for a number of years in the Naimisharanya forest. Then Ugrasavas comes to visit them, these rishis who are performing this yaga. So when somebody comes, we will tell them, oh, you have come a long way, you must have seen so many things, you must have heard about a lot of things. Please tell us something new which we have not heard. So this is the way they used to increase their knowledge, learning from all, learned people. They will always look for learned people to know more and more and more. Thirst for knowledge was so much, right? So Ugrasavas tells them the Mahabharata story. And he says that he had the pleasure of hearing this story of Mahabharata from another sage called Vaishampayana. And Vaishampayana got this Mahabharata story directly from Vedavyasa himself. And Vaishampayana was actually telling this story to Janamejaya, who is the king of Parikshit, when he was doing the Sarpa Yagas. Very confusing. Who told the story to whom and all is very confusing. Okay. So it's like a flashback we see in some movies or even some novels we have seen. In fact, there will be a first flashback, then another flashback in that flashback, another flashback in that flashback. We don't know where we are actually. Which flashback we are dealing with, we don't know. Here the situation is similar. Okay, I will try to make it simple. So it's a dialogue between Ugrasravas and sage Shaunaka, in which there is a dialogue between Vaishampayana and Janamejaya, who is the son of Parikshit. And Vaishampayana now brings out the dialogue between Yudhishthira and Bhishma. And this is what Ugrasavas is telling this group of rishis. So Vaishampayana told this to Yudhishthira and Bhishma. Yudhishthira and Bhishma. That is what is relevant here. So let us just remember that whole thing was Vaishampayana is the person who is narrating. Right? And mostly, in Puranas, Itihasas, everywhere, direct speech is what is used rather in our scriptures, rather, right? So in keeping with that, they use the word Uvacha. In Bhagavad Gita also, many of you will say Arjuna Uvacha, Bhagavan Uvacha. All the Uvacha means he told. direct speech, right? So now we will start with the commentary of Shankaracharya. The first sloka we will take, which is there in the Bhagavad Gita. And before we go into that, I just want to explain to you about the Bhashyam structure. See, what the Bhashyakaras or the commentators, especially Adi Shankara and all, they do is they will pick up one sloka from a scripture, and the sloka will have many words. Each word they will pick up and explain each word. How that particular word is to be interpreted, how that particular word is to be understood, they will explain. That is how we have to read the Bhashya. That is how we understand what is the meaning of that sloka is. So what I have done is that when I sent you this PDF copies, both in English and also in Sanskrit, you would have seen I have used 3 color fonts. There is a black color font which is giving the shlokas, which is in black color. Then when you come to the commentary, I have used 2 colors, red and a purple color. The words appearing in the red color are the words which are appearing in the sloka, original words of the sloka. And the words which are appearing in purple color are the commentary or the meaning of Shankaracharya, given to that particular word which is there in the sloka. So this background you bear in mind, so that you will be, some of you may be wondering why this color and all that, it looks very colorful commentary, but it becomes easy for us to relate. What is the old sloka? What is the word from the sloka which is now being explained, and what is the explanation being given, which is given in the purple color. Okay. So with that background, with that understanding, we will enter the first sloka. Okay. And those of you who want to recite, I will recite the sloka, but we need not repeat it after me. You can recite it along with me. It is there in the Vishnu Sahasranama text which I have sent. Also in all Vishnu Sahasranama text which you will have in your home, it will be there. Okay. Shri Vaishampayanah Janame Uvacha Shrutva Dharmana Seshena Pavanani Cha Sarvashah Yudhishthira Shantanavam Punarevabhya Bhashata. We will read the Bhashyam also. Dharman Abhyudaya Nishreyasah Utpatti Hetu Bhutan Chodana Lakshanan Aseshena Katsyena Pavanani Papakshayakaranani Dharma Rahasyani Cha Sarvashah Sarva Prakaraihi Shrutva Yudhishthirah Dharmaputrah Shantanavam Shantanu Sutam Bhishmam Sakala Purushartha Sadhanam Sukasampadhyam Alpaprayasam Anantaphalam Anuktamiti Kritva Punaha Bhuyaha Eva Abhyabhashata Prashnam Kritavan. For those of you who are Sanskrit students, it's an excellent exercise for you to improve your Sanskrit knowledge. When you read, when you understand each meaning, it's going to increase your vocabulary and your knowledge and usage of these words in Sanskrit tremendously. Anyhow, so here Adi Shankara starts with a very beautiful opening. Because in the original Vishnu Sahasranama, what is said? It will be said, Sri Vaishampayana Uvacha Shrutva Dharmana Seshena, like that it will go. But here Adi Shankara says, Vaishampayana Uvacha means Vaishampayana told. Told to whom will be the question. So that is why he adds Sri Vaishampayana Janame Jaya Uvacha. Vaishampayana told this to Janame Jaya. Who is telling this? Ugra Savas is telling this to the Shaunaka and company rishis. What is saying? Vaishampayana told this to Janame Jaya. What did he say? So he says, as I told you, Janamejaya is the son of Parikshit. You should remember that, right? And there is a story also behind it. Janamejaya was the son of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was the son of Arjuna. Arjuna, we all know. I don't think Arjuna needs an introduction, right? Now, for some reason, this Janamejaya was very angry. He was very angry with all the sarpas, the serpents. So he took a vow to completely destroy all the serpents from this world, and he conducted a big yaga to destroy the serpents, in which all the serpents will automatically come and then they will jump into the fire. They will be killed by that. This is the story, right? I don't want to go full into the story. That is the context in which Vaishampayana, in order to put some sense into Janamejaya not to destroy the serpents, tells the story of Mahabharata and prevents, as any untoward this thing. Janamejaya stops his Sarpa Yaga, right? So he tells many things. Not only Vishnu Sahasranamam, Shiva Sahasranamam is also there in Mahabharata only. That is a Upadesha given by one Muni called Upamanyu Muni to Bhagavan Krishna. All these stories are there in Mahabharata. But such a wonderful epic it is, None of us have actually read the full Mahabharata. We must have heard bits and pieces we must have read. To read the full Mahabharata, and wonderful, we have heard lot of things, from appearing in Mahabharata. But it will be really somebody's lifetime achievement if they read the entire Mahabharata and understand what is said. Okay. So coming back to Vishnu Sahasranamam, Bhishma gives lot of upadeshas about dharma to Yudhishthira. Right? Because I told you the background, Yudhishthira and Krishna have gone to Bhishma for getting upadesha because of the dharma sankat which Yudhishthira was facing. So he wanted to understand everything about dharma. What is dharma? So this Bhishmacharya has given lot of explanation about Raja Dharma, Kula Dharma, Pati Dharma, Patni Dharma, Pitru Dharma, Putra Dharma. So many dharmas are there, The right conduct for every group of people in every role that one person plays in his life. Okay. So a lot of this moksha dharma, there is one moksha dharma portion in Mahabharata which itself has got 5,000 slokas. Can you imagine? He has told him about moksha dharma also. Moksha, that also Bhishmacharya has told, has given Upadesha to Yudhishthira. And I am told by Swami Omkarananda that this moksha dharma has got some very beautiful slokas, which we cannot even see in Bhagavad Gita, he says. Because he must have studied. I have not read it. For me, my gurus are my source for all that I am telling you. So here the Kurukshetra war is over. As I told, Dharmaputra ascends the throne, and even after sitting the throne, all that background we see, a sorrow in his mind, why so many people got killed and all that. And Krishna, tried to console him, but that was not effective. So they went to Bhishma. And as I said, whenever they met the people, elderly people, they will always ask for Upadesha. So here also he is doing. So Upadesha, Bhishma is giving the Upadesha and the entire Dharma Shastra to Yudhishthira. Right? So after listening to all the dharmas which Bhishma has told, Yudhishthira is still not satisfied. So he asks certain questions to Bhishmacharya. And that is what is said in this sloka. Right? So From Vaishampayana and all the connective, now we have come down to the present. Dialogue between Bhishma and Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira is now asking this question. And that is what the sloka we just now saw is explaining. Right? So, here the main sentence is Yudhishthira Shantanavam Abhyabhashata. Yudhishthira asked the question to Bhishma. Shantanavam is Bhishma. We'll see the meaning. Shankaracharya has given the meaning of Shantanavam also. The name Yudhishthira, see, those days they had very creative way of giving names to people. The name Yudhishthira is from Yudhihi Stiraha Yudhishthira. Yudhihi means war. Stiraha means who is steadfast, who will never go away from a war scene, rather, right? So the name Yudhishthira stands for someone who is steadfast in the war. He does not turn his back in a battle. He is courageous and always goes forward in a battle. That is the background of the name Yudhishthira. And these type of names were commonly given in Kshatriya families during those days, rather. Because a Kshatriya king cannot be named as Shantamurti, Dayananda and all that, right? Karunakara. Kshatriya cannot have all these things. If he has to have, he has to become a Mahatma, rather, right? So, Kshatriya name will always be related to some aggressive idea or some battle related idea. Even the word, Duryodhana, excuse me, is the one who fights with Duritam very fast. That's why Duryodhana. Duritena yuddham karoti Duryodhana. Duritam means fast. So he's the one who fights very fast. So he was given Duryodhana. Now don't ask me, when he was born, he was given the name Duryodhana. How did they know that he will fight very fast? Because he got the name Duryodhana, he got that quality of a Duryodhana also for fighting very fast. That is how we have to understand. Okay. Well, these questions are all common. When he was born, he was given the name. How do they know that he will become this? So Yudhishthira also. Anyhow, that's all aside remarks. So now let us understand the meaning of this sloka. I'll just start, but then I don't think we'll have time to complete the meaning. Sri Vaishampayana Janamejaya Uvacha. Vaishampayana told Janamejaya. What did he say? Shrutva. Shrutva means having heard. Dharman. I'm just giving you the word meanings of the shloka. Bhashyam I will come later. Shrutva means having heard. Dharman, all the dharmas and karmas. This is a very important word, this dharma, and needs to be very well understood. Shankaracharya has given a very, very detailed meaning of this word dharma, and that itself is very involved meaning rather. And as I told you, he says that Abhyudeha Nishreyasaha Hetu Bhutan Abhyudeha Nishreyasaha Utpatti Hetu Bhutan Chodana Lakshana. Right? So we'll see all that Bhashyam later, what all these words Adi Shankara has used. So let us understand what this word dharma means in general first, right? So dharma includes all rituals, duties. Being as a responsible person, one needs to do all the duties, the values which one needs to follow rather. And as I told you, there are two types of dharma. There is a samanya dharma, general duties applicable to all. Vishesha dharmas, which is specific to specific groups of people, right? So values like patience, non-violence, all these, humility, not harming anybody as in non-violence, not being jealous and all that. These values and all, so many things Shastras talk about, these dharmas, right? So this is what is the general meaning, what we can say dharma. So what we can understand is dharma means, generally, I'm telling, those thoughts, those words, and those actions which are the cause for peace and happiness of an individual, and also for the maintenance of peace and harmony in the society. That is what is called dharma. More we will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
धन्यवादः
Hari Om.
धन्यवादः
Dhanyawadaha. Thank you.
हरि ओम गुरुजी
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Hari
Namaskaram.
Om Guruji, Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Hari Om Ji, Namaskaram.
थैंक यू गुरुजी
Thank you.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji.
Are there any questions?
Guruji, I got a question.
Yes, please.
Actually, we are told, we are understood that if when you attain motion, there is no rebirth. So, what will happen to that soul? That, yeah. What will
Merge
happen?
with the Vyashti will merge with Samashti.
So, we are telling that Samashti and Vyashti is same. Though, then how it is actually that?
So you have already understood. Actually, there is no Samashti. You see, this is a very, very high level Vedanta. I don't want to go into that now. Right?
Okay.
All that you can understand at this point in time is that the cause for rebirth is our karmas. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
by getting the knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, these karmas will get destroyed completely.
Yeah.
All Sanchita karmas and also Agami karmas. Prarabdha karma will not get destroyed because it has already started at your birth. That Prarabdha karma one has to, experience as long as the body is there. This body is there.
Yeah.
But Sanchita karma and Agami karma will be destroyed. And at the fall of the body, the prarabdha karma also will go. So at the time of death, there is no karma balance. Because there is no karma balance, there is no rebirth. So you can understand it in that manner at this point in time. How that merger takes place, what is that merger and all, actually speaking, at the highest level of knowledge, there is no merger. So all that, you will have to go into what is the nature, Satyam, Mithya and all, that's all Tattva Bodha subjects, not Vishnu Sahasranamam subjects. Okay. If you are Tattva Bodha, I will be dealing in that Saturday classes, this thing in detail.
I'm not there in that.
Even in Vedanta, we must understand, as I told you, the different levels, Mandadikari, Madhyamadikari and Uttamadikari, in scriptures. Within Vedanta also, they don't tell everything right in the beginning. There also there is a stage by stage only the revelation takes place. Rather, you can't tell the ultimate to a beginner of Vedanta. You have to take him through a particular route. That is why the Mahatmas like Dayanand Saraswati and all are so popular, because they know this. There is a methodology in the Shastra in order to unlock the message of the Vedas. So that is a process. Prakriya is there. So that we have to follow to understand what it is. Otherwise, questions will come. That when Vyashti and Samashti Dvaitam is there, so how can be Advaitam? All these questions are very valid questions. But for that to understand that, one needs to study the Upanishads and get that knowledge.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama. Namaskara.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
No other questions?
Last class you mentioned the source of this book, publication.
Sorry, can you come near the mic?
last class you mentioned the source of this publication, right? The book
Yeah.
from where you're in the discourse order, you are explaining the meanings, right? From some source, the book, the name of that book, please.
Yes, Vishnu Sahasranamam Shankara Bhashyam.
No.
Which is published
Ah.
by
Published by
Gorakhpur, this Gita Press Gorakhpur.
Okay, that is fine. I didn't write it down last time because I like you rightly mentioned last class, there is a lot of confusion in the spiritual maturity I haven't attained. So I'm asking you a very plain question. When I have attended this Vaishnava Sampradaya Gita class, the ISKCON is a cult, right? ISKCON classes Gita I have attended. So that is confusing me a lot.
Yeah, it will confuse only because they themselves are confused people.
That is correct. That is correct.
I told you, I mentioned to you that I didn't name the source at that time. I told you this Bhagavad Gita shloka Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, which is appearing in the 18th chapter in a book. It was written, give up all your religions and come and surrender to me, says Krishna. Now, this was the interpretation for Sarva Dharman given in a ISKCON book for your kind information. They are talking about Krishna and they talk about consciousness. They don't know the difference between what is consciousness and what is Krishna. They are giving consciousness a Nema and Nama Rupa they are giving to consciousness. Whereas consciousness has got no name, no form, no guna. All this is... The confusion is there, and people like you who are at a very initial stage are bound to get confused. That's very natural because they are confused. They expect the confusion only rather.
Yeah,
they are treating as a Saguna Rupa as Krishna and then explaining that is.
They are taking a Saguna Rupa and trying to explain. No, forget Saguna Rupa. From where do you get this interpretation of the word Dharma as a religion? That's my question.
Yeah, that is correct.
When Mahabharata was there, what other religions were there in the world? There was no Christianity, there was no Islam. Nothing was there. Then what are you saying? That Krishna says, give up your religions and come to me. You see, you must understand the background of the ISKCON movement. ISKCON movement is an antidote to conversion to Christianity. They want to convert Christians into Hindus.
Christianity.
That is what ISKCON movement is all about. It's a cult, right? So we must not, and for ISKCON, they don't touch Upanishads. They will only go by Bhagavatam. Therefore, the Upanishads mean the moment they enter Upanishads, all their interpretations will be thrown. Yes. Only Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, they touch, and that too, one or two mantras from that. That's it, which favors what they want to say. So this is how many people get caught in this ISKCON, and it is because it is promoted by so many people, Bill Gates, this, that, and all that, and they get a lot of popularity. But in India, nobody follows ISKCON and all that. We have got better things to understand.
Chinmayananda is much better.
Chinmayananda will give a much better. It's a chota book, small books, very nice books.
Yeah. It's nice.
Books. Very nice books, Swami Chinmayananda's. That is the right spiritual path. I mean, I'm being very plain and very... Sorry?
Chinmayananda's book, Mama, when we were in school, very early days, I can't remember now, but we were taught the meanings of Bhagavad Gita in small shlokas. Okay, so now after that, probably I haven't had the chance to go deep into Gita or again reading it. Now again I've started, as I mentioned, just started to...
That is the right way to understand.
Just started initiating.
Correct.
So, but when they're saying this Vaishnava Gaura Sampradaya, Krishna is the avatar of Vishnu and Vishnu is the avatar of Krishna, there is a confusion. And if you see that Pralaya Payodi Jale and the Dashavatara song, there is no Buddha, again is one. In some Dashavataras, there is Buddha. There is no Balarama and Krishna are two different avatars, but Dashavatara, then how they can be, in the same...
Yeah. That's how... See, you must see...
Different avatars.
Yeah, that Buddha and all that is a people say Buddha is a Vishnu avatara, right? And if you
Yeah.
actually know Buddhism, they are actually Asatvadis. And I have to go into all Satvada, Asatvada and all that. Buddha don't believe in Ishvara. You know, Buddhists, they don't believe in Ishvara. They don't believe in Brahman. They are Shunyavadis. They say that the entire world, cosmos came from nothing. Before the world was created, there was nothing. And from nothing, everything came. Can you imagine? This is the logic they apply. When you read Brahma Sutra and all that, Adi Shankaracharya has dismissed all those things as all rubbish. That is why Adi Shankara's commentary and all is very, very useful for us to understand what is the illogical thing other people talk about. So, in fact, you know, I have a nice chart. If possible, I will show it to you in the next class, where, you know, there is a complete, you know, explanation of the different, you know, philosophies, how the entire, you know, shastras are there. I will just show you that chart. You know, it's a
family tree.
A tree.
Like family tree, it will come, is
Yeah,
it?
exactly. And where all our Indian
family tree.
philosophies, you know, the 6 different schools, which is Dvaita, Visishta, Dvaita, Advaita. Then we have, you know, the what is that? Veda, and Shuddha Advaita. There is one Chota school, Shuddha Advaita. I will show that chart so that you will understand how all these things are, you know, there. But I will show that chart only after the class is over. It is not a Vishnu Sahasranamam class. That is for Satsanga. I will show you the chart in the Satsanga.
We will wait and see that.
Sorry?
After the class, we will wait and see that.
Yeah, those who are interested, they can wait and see the chart.
Yeah.
In fact, I had prepared it for my Tattvabodha teaching, the chart. So,
okay.
So I can show you that. It will be there. I will have to search it where it is. So next class, I will show you. I will make sure that I keep that ready for sharing on the screen. There you will know what are all the different philosophy schools of Vedanta that we have, and what are all Buddhism, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, all those things. Vedantic and non-Vedantic schools, all that in one chart I have tried to capture, rather, one flow chart. I'll show it to you. Okay.
In Buddhism, can talk.
Sorry?
In Buddhism, they talk about Shunyam. In Buddhism, they talk about Shunyam. Everything goes to Shunya. There is nothing beyond Shunya. But in
nothing comes out of nothing and everything goes into nothing.
How do you know there is a Shunyam? That means there is something else beyond that also. That is Sakshi.
No, but what they're saying is, you know, because they say that you say Brahman is there. We don't see any Brahman. We can't see Brahman. So there is Shunyam only. Absence, Abhava. And yeah, let us not discuss all that. And it's a very, very deep topic. I mean, lot of discussions.
Thank you, Guruji. Dhanyawad, Guruji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghu.
So we will meet next Sunday. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste, Guru. Namaste.
Good night, Guruji. Good night.
Namaste to all. Thank you.
Bye.
Paklam.
Thank you for including me, Guruji.
Oh, you're welcome. Those who are interested are always welcome. That's for me. What matters is your interest. Inclusion is not a problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you.